only.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Up only.
Hello and welcome to Up Only TV. I'm Ledger, joined by Cobie shortly. Coming at you remote from the beach today. I had to escape the pain. You know what to do though. This episode goes on just like normal, and it's brought to you by Blockfolio. You too can track the blood and tears in your portfolio. Unless you escaped it, then good for you. Go to uponly.tv/Blockfolio. You can download it today, check it out, track your portfolio, make trades, capitulate, buy the dip, whatever you plan to do, you can do it at Blockfolio. You can connect your bank to bring in fresh fiat to this market. We're thankful for Blockfolio being a part of Up Only TV. Once again, go to uponly.tv/Blockfolio. Download it today. Thanks so much. Now let's get to the main event. Cobie, off to you.
Did we do it? Did it work? I think it might have worked. I think you're live. I'm going to close everything because you can hear my audio. Ledger, can you say hi?
Hello.
See if this thing is working. Can they hear you?
I think they can hear me. It's not quite to that point yet, but yeah, it's live.
All right. Well, today I'm hosting the show for the first time by myself. So I've got this whole thing set up. I'm pressing all these buttons. So if that was weird, that's why. But we've got Ledger, we've got Sam, we've got Cryptopathic, we've got Crypto Cred, we've got Tradinglord, and Ledger. They're telling me to switch my mic, so I'm going to go switch it around. But while I'm doing that, please introduce yourselves.
Yeah. So my name's Ledger. I'm poor. Let's introduce Cred. Why don't you start, Mr. Bottom Buyer?
Hi, I'm Cred, washed up trading educator turned failed comedian. I buy very low and sell when it's just above my entry, even if it's the generational bottom. Go check my tweets and then bask in my agony. And I will be discussing on-chain analysis today, hopefully a bit later when my friend on-chain Cred comes around. But while he's on his way here, I will fill in accordingly.
Nice. Sam.
I've attempted to fix my mic. Can chat tell me if my mic is now fixed? It should be better, but I don't know if it is.
Alameda Sam.
Cool. Yeah, I'm Sam Tribuco. I'm a quant trader at Alameda. Alameda's like a market maker / quant trading firm. We do a lot of trading in pretty much every market. I talk a lot on Twitter about the sort of thinking that I use in trading. Probably be talking about a lot of the same stuff here.
Awesome. Tradinglord.
So what's up? I go by the name of Tradinglord. Very unprepared, very unqualified to be here. But yeah, I'll just try to bring some good vibes. And I, at the end of the day, I try to warn some people over the past couple of weeks. I guess that's why I'm here. And sometimes I DM with pretty hot girls. But besides that, no reason to listen to me.
Hey, I'm Path. I'm a trader as well. Almost got liquidated on tons of pot noodles now. So.
I don't believe that Path can get liquidated. I don't think it's possible. I'm not a believer. So for anyone tuning in, the purpose of the show is a panel of cope. We're all here to cope together. The question is it over? Did Suzu dump on us? Is the super cycle
no super cycle
gone? There's no super cycle. Was it all a lie?
No, it was all a lie. Obviously.
Wait, so is it true that they ended the day as the top P&L on the FTX leaderboard?
Yeah, they were number one very briefly before that. This convex whatever person took over again.
So the theory there is that they were telling everybody it was a super cycle, but then they went short before the dump.
I mean, they are a trading firm. If it looks like it's going down, you should probably short.
I mean, funding was also pretty high. They were probably just short on FTX and like long Bitfinex spot or something, which is what it looked like.
Yeah, that's what it did look like. They were down like 200 million on Bitfinex and then up a bunch on FTX.
Yeah.
But how did you guys trade it, Sam? Like, were you ready for the turbo nuke? Did you know it was going to zero?
I mean, we didn't know how much the market was going to react to like whatever news it was responding to, like the China thing or Elon or whatever actually caused it to go down. We didn't really think it was going to go down as much as it did. But then once it got around 40, where it hadn't been in a while, we figured there'd be a lot of liquidations, which is just sort of the kind of like whenever it gets to like a local max or a local min, there tend to be a ton of liquidations like going in the same way. And that's what happened. That's like what pushed Bitcoin below 30 and all the other stuff. Yeah, so that was predictable. I don't think it was predictable that it was going to start, but it was predictable that it was going to like continue.
Yeah, and how did do you guys primarily trade Bitcoin USD, or do you trade a bunch of other markets as well? Because Ethereum, like someone was mentioning it before, and like Ethereum on Binance went to like actual zero.
Yeah. Yeah, we trade all of them. A lot of the markets got quite out of line, and we have setups like to trade pretty much every liquid market, and like both spot and derivatives on every exchange. So yeah, we're able to take advantage of a lot of that.
Wait, so when everyone's getting liquidated, you're the other side of the trade. No matter what exchange it is, like they're just buying and selling from you.
If it's cheap, then yeah. Like, well, yeah. Like when if a market goes 5% below all the other markets, yeah, Alameda is like gonna try pretty hard to buy it, no matter where it is.
All right. I need to quickly question chat, see if the audio and the video is out of sync or if it's fine, because on my end it's out of sync, but if it's fine for everyone else, then I'll just continue.
It's good. So I'm checking it. I have it in.
Sweet.
Yep.
And then, so the super cycle narrative, Sam, are you believers in the super cycle, or you think this is another 4-year boom and bust? Do you think it's like the Amazon up only for 100 years, or are you more grounded in reality?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think that in general, these like whenever there's a big move, like crypto going from 20 to 60 or whatever, like from January through a few weeks ago, a lot of that was organic, certainly. But if you're like watching all the liquidations that are happening, like a ton of shorts got liquidated the whole time. So it's unclear what price it like should have gotten to if only the organic buying had happened. I think that like 60 was like probably too high. That seemed pretty likely just based on like how much did get liquidated. Around this price, like I don't know, it's kind of hard to say longer term. Yeah, like because of the liquidations yesterday, Alameda did get quite long and hasn't changed that. So it's not like we think it's going down or anything from here. But we don't have like a super strong direction to lean right now, like for the short term at least.
You know what to do, guys.
Dump on Alameda.
Hey, give me all the Bitcoin
Tradinglord
have below 40K and shut up, or whatever it is Sam said.
Let's get it over with. Sell and go.
Yeah.
Tradinglord, you were one of the accounts that I saw that was a little bit more hesitant and not buying into the euphoria before the dump. I saw you tweet something else. I think ETH was like 36 or 38. Mm-hmm. So maybe like 10-15% off the top that said like it's not today, but massive red candles are coming. Did you trade it? Did you play it out? It was a godlike call when everyone was euphoric.
Gonna be honest, timing wise pretty okay, execution wise okay-ish, but could have been better, obviously. But I took a shitload of profits. Moved it to just USDT, was chilling. But then we just spoke earlier. I moved it instantly to Binance to get the wicks, try to be a little Almeida, and then Ethereum, the futures literally went to $1,400. So I was starting to bid at like 2.2, 2.1, and I'm in the car, and my friend has my Binance account on his phone. We were not even in front of the screens. And I'm like, okay, dude, let's get this. This is gonna be godlike, like already mentioning the cloud and all the money and whatever. And then at one point we just see like, okay, you're down 50, you're down 70, you're down 100, and I'm like, okay, dude, what is happening? Where the fuck are we going? And at the end of the day, I just took the loss at that point, and then it went to 1,400. My liquidation was like 1.5 or something. So got kind of lucky. Still gave too much back to the market. But yeah, it is what
This
it is.
stuff always happens at the worst time, like when you're traveling, you're doing stuff. Like
Obviously.
I was driving down to the beach, and I was like, every time I get out of the car, I don't know if like a $500 range that ETH might be in. It's just like, keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty brutal. Like, the liquidation, like before the downwards move started, I was expecting a downwards move, but I was thinking Bitcoin would go to like 36 and 33 at like worst case scenario. But when I saw the price moving down and people just buying the dip on leverage, I was like, oh God, like this is not going to stop, is it? Like, they're just like, they're not they're kind of buying, but in a way they're just selling because they're forcing themselves to sell at a lower price later when it all like slips to zero. And my Bitcoin USD buys were very good, but my ETH buys were like a little bit too high because it hit like 1,800 on Bitfinex, and that was $1,000 over where Path told me to buy. Path, how did you trade it?
Terribly. No, I think.
God bleeds.
Well, yeah, I had loads of limit orders set, so they all filled while I was asleep. And then I woke up at like 9 a.m. because someone outside was playing music really loudly from their car. So I got to pull some of them, and that made me not die, thankfully. But then, yeah, so... Sorry, say again?
Can you tell the internet about your attempts to wake me from my sleep? So I went to bed and the price of Bitcoin was like maybe 37, 36.
Okay, I'll get it up. But yeah, I was messaging Cobie trying to wake him up, help him save the market, because I couldn't do it on my own. I don't have enough money for that. Well, but yeah, I ended up going really heavy at 2,600 on ETH, which was a mistake. So I ended up stopping out some of that on the second leg down. I didn't think it would go that low. So I got chopped up a bit, but I'm doing all right.
I just woke up at like 4 p.m. and I had 70 messages from you, and it was like, help me, wake up. Cobie, we need you. Help, I need you now. I'm trying to do it alone. Please wake up. It's the worst crash ever. Okay, it's over. It's not over. Oh, God. I was like, bro, what happened? Looked at the chart and I was like, yeah, fair enough.
What percentage did open interest go down by? Do y'all know? Sam,
50
do you know? 50 something?
Close to 50, no?
Yeah, a lot. And then a lot more got liquidated than it looked like because a lot of new open interest got opened too.
Yeah. I was about to say 50% doesn't sound right because, I mean, a 40% move probably takes out everybody but like on maybe 1.5, 2x.
Yeah.
And most people are on much more than that. So.
Yeah, they are.
And Cred, what about you? Did you survive? Are you a survivor? I heard you bought the bottom but sold 3 basis points higher.
Yeah, no, I've honestly had a weirdly, unusually good time because I went into USD on like whatever the 16th when the whole direct listing went up a lot, and then we failed to break out and like made a new all-time high and then took a shit. And I'm generally like, when the market does that and you have these big news events, the market's really juiced into it, and then price just completely diverges from what's quote unquote supposed to happen. That just kind of sucks, generally speaking. And I don't really mind buying higher if I've got good evidence that's going to keep going higher versus just like getting the fuck out and waiting. So I got out on whatever 16th into USDC and then missed like the entire ETH run because it's like my entire collateral was in dollars. And then shit started crashing, which is good. On the day itself, I wasn't playing leverage because I was just simply too scared and I was sleep deprived. I like tried to put in a limit order and I put like 2 more zeros than I should have. So I just canceled that and said, yeah, we're not doing that today. So for me, it was spot and kind of just waiting for a big nuke. And it came and I bought it. And then, yeah, as you said, for me, even when it comes to spot plays, if I'm buying a huge nuke, especially when it's like so liquidation driven, so anomalous, etc. Like for me, the setup is you buy the huge nuke, hope the market isn't a complete scam, and then you sell the first bounce and reassess after. Because like the price action that follows these massive liquidation events tends to be really shitty and churny after the fact. So for me, like the clear trade is you buy the nuke, it either goes to zero or you're right, and then you get out on a bounce and then see what's up. So my ETH limit orders were hit at 1850s, which is sick. Never going down that low again, hopefully, even though I'm out already. And then Bitcoin, I had a weekly level at like 32 something, 32.3, and then the market was just teleporting below it, which was kind of cool. So my reasoning was this is either the wick or like I need to delete my Twitter account because crypto just like never happened. And so I just started market buying there as well. And credit to FTX, it was working really well for all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was scary, but it didn't really hang around those entries for long. And I tweeted them out as well. You know, I was either going to be a legend or just delete my account if the market went much lower. So pretty good risk reward there. But yeah, then got out on the bounce pretty much yesterday, and now I'm waiting. For me, that trade is over. You like buy the big nuke, get out on the bounce and see what's up. That bounce has more or less materialized for me. And then here I either want to buy higher or kind of buy lower. That's it. But no, overall, long time sat in USD, but you know, pretty happy all things considered.
Yeah, I was very close. If we had another leg down, I was just going to delete my account, or I was going to rebrand. I was going to like pick a new hobby, and I was just going to pretend I've never been into crypto.
Than March? More scared than the 13th of March or whatever date was.
Well, March, in my opinion, was like a very obvious bottom. Like, I mean, I did the tweet at the very bottom, like the bottom tick, and it was like,
I bought because of you, bro. 100%. Like, how's that? Cobie is in.
There you go.
No, yeah, 100%.
But like that was to me was like, yeah, okay, it stops here. That's good. And then I had the same it stops here feeling the other night. I don't remember when it is. The days all blur into one, and then it didn't stop there. And like when my intuition is proved wrong, I just get a huge sense of fear because I actually don't know how to trade. I don't understand. Like I always message Path, and I'm like, Path, is a diamond pattern bullish or bearish? Path is this bullish divergence or is this like which one is that good? I don't know what I'm doing. I only just look at it and I guess. I look at the chart and I guess. And then if I'm wrong, I just get retail fear. I'm like, oh shit, what do I do now? I've never been wrong before. So it was more scared than March. March was like March was pretty comfy for me, but this one I think this one's interesting, and because at the bottom of March there wasn't a ton of new retail participants that had just been onboarded to the market over the last few months, whereas like the people getting wrecked in this were like not long-term crypto traders that have just traded through a bear market. It was like people who like went all in on dog money like 2 months ago, and you know, they just wiped it all out.
How are the dog tokens doing? I haven't checked out.
Yeah, I haven't checked them either.
Are they still?
Dog money's going to infinity. Elon's reputation is like now carried by dog money. He can't get out of it. He's just got to pump it to $10 now.
It's not just Doge. It's the like all those BSC dog tokens. Yeah, like Shiba. How's Shiba doing? Is it new paradigm?
I asked Suzu what he thought about the dog money thing a couple of weeks ago, and he said something like, "I think it's pretty clear that dog money is an asset class now," but he wasn't joking. I was like, wow. I mean, we see things differently. That's why you're richer than me, maybe.
Hey, I've been massively long Doge since January. It's been awesome.
And
Are you joking?
Yeah, no, it seemed quite good at the time. Or like after Elon's second tweet or something is when got really long Doge.
But how did you hold it past like 10 cents? Like I can understand holding that breakup from like 4 or 5 cents. But how do you hold it past like 10, 12 cents?
Yeah, well, it never stopped seeming true that he was going to keep tweeting about it. And people's reaction to him tweeting about it was just always the exact same. So it just seemed like good. I don't know.
This is a perfect example. It's a perfect example of the bell curve meme.
Yeah,
so you know, like the bell curve meme that people do, where on the left side of the curve, it's like Elon says up, so up. And then in the middle, it's like, no, the inflation is too high. There's billions printed per day. It's dog coin. It's a joke coin. And then on the right-hand side, there's you going, Elon says up, so up.
Yeah. We use that meme a lot on Alameda's Slack.
You could just throw my picture right there on the middle of it.
I was on the middle of it for Doge, dude. I bought so much on that stream we did, and then I sold it all at 7 cents. It was like 1 cent to 7 cents. I was like, I'm a genius. I'm not a genius. Can I get an invite to the Alameda Slack? Just like slip me in. I won't say anything.
fine.
I'll just I'll pay a lot.
Oh.
It's like a paid group.
No, I don't think we can have anyone seeing that because it really is much stupider than I bet most people imagine. So we don't want that.
Look, I've wasted all my money on Filecoin's paid group. I need a better paid group. Can I get in the Alameda paid group, please?
Yeah, it's mostly shit posting,
Oh,
at least as far as I'm concerned.
So there's two things I think are very important to talk about in relation to the recent market dump and massive liquidation event. The first one is the 4chan post, the conspiracy theory that like China is trying to liquidate Justin Sun, I guess. It was like China is trying to liquidate a single entity, a single stakeholder. And then at the same time, there was a story that Justin Sun almost got liquidated. It actually went below his liquidation price on that DeFi protocol or whatever it is. But somehow it didn't get liquidated. Maybe gas fees were too high. Who believes this conspiracy theory? Did you all see it? Is it real?
Yeah, so it was with one of these new projects too, right? Like Liquidity or whatever it's called. And I think it was for like 1 billion was the amount that he had in that system. I don't really believe it because of this treasury news that came out today. Like I think the treasury news was what that put buyer from last week. I think that's what they had inside information on, and that was the anticipation. And then it just like all front ran the actual real news.
Sam's gonna be like, the put buyer was me.
Yeah. Sam, true or false?
No, up only.
Yeah, Suzu said the same, and now look at us.
We've renamed the show. We're called If Only now. If only we could be profitable.
If only.
Makes sense.
So, Sam, what you're saying is y'all had inside info, bought loads of puts, created a gamma effect on the downside, caused a liquidation cascade, and then the treasury news came out today, and that was the bottom.
You would never.
Got it.
No, the puts weren't up. The puts weren't up.
I want to dispel some of the Suzu FUD, because on the 26th of April, he tweeted that the concept of bullish selling is simple, coins transferring from weaker hands to stronger hands, and also value shifting to better and better coins. I'll let you know when there's bearish selling, but I haven't seen it yet this year. And he hasn't updated that, so I assume this was all bullish selling. So, don't sell.
I don't want to see the fucking bearish selling.
Because we all know Suzu's on Twitter to make us rich, no pleb left behind, right? And he told us he'd let us know if there's any bearish selling. He hasn't, which means there's no bearish selling. It's pretty obvious.
He tweeted today that the super cycle's intact. He quote tweeted me. I don't know why he quote tweeted me because my tweet was not related to his at all. But he said super cycle remains intact. So it must have just been more bullish selling.
Precisely, I agree.
Bullish,
Good to have a
60%
brand.
drop.
Bullish 60% drop. Yeah, I mean, don't just look at the chart. That looks bullish to me.
I mean, the maths makes sense, right? We talk about 30% bull market pullbacks, and we got a 2-in-1, which is a pretty sick deal. So.
That means there's not going to be another one where the next dip's supposed to be. That's why it's bullish.
Pretty obvious,
That's
right?
why that's why Cred sells his position after 3% up, from the bottom.
Mate, it was like 3.8%.
No, but the worst is
So
behind us, 100%. I mean, what else can happen now? We got hit by all the FUDs, everything just combined. What can go wrong now? Seriously.
Well, I don't know, because the market is pretty weak, right? Like, there was some news came out that you have to pay taxes in America. That was the news.
But,
the news was, in America, remember, taxes exist. Like, that was it. It was like,
well,
if you send greater than 10K, that's reportable to the IRS. And we dumped 10% off of that. It like dumped 10%. So the market's pretty weak. It gets spooked by anything. If you actually take in that news, what they said is, it's like 2 or 3 years till this rule is implemented. So the US government is saying, we believe that cryptocurrency is here to stay. It's going to be like a staple financial instrument that we need to build infrastructure around for the future. And we tax people. That's not new. And everyone was like, fuck, we need to sell. We need to sell. They think it's real.
I don't think it was so much about taxes, but it's basically to mirror the same policy that already exists on internal banking transfers in the US now. So like if you send a wire transfer or have a, interbank transaction that's more than $10,000, those already get reported in the traditional financial ecosystem. And this is basically a goal to be done by 2023. So it's like a couple of years off to have similar functionality within the crypto ecosystem, where if an American is transacting more than $10,000 in one go, that there would be similar reporting to try to prevent, money laundering or fraud or whatever else. But that's a regulation that already exists in traditional banking. What's going to be weird and difficult is like, how do you send a transaction if you're going from, Coinbase or Gemini or Kraken, like an American institution, and then you're sending it to a self-custodied wallet? Like, what happens there? Or like, what's the information that's reported there? That's some of the parts that are interesting and confusing about that. But in terms of what's actually being done, you're totally right, Cobie. There's like just kind of a verification that this is here to stay more than anything else, because it's just mirroring existing legislative frameworks.
Has anyone noticed that when the topic of taxes come up, Ledger's like, oh, this is my moment. I'm ready to fucking talk. We're talking about the IRS. Let me look at my IRS manual. Because Ledger is Ledger works for the IRS. He's like, this is the needs the market needs. This is my moment to explain the IRS to the viewers.
I mean, Cobie, you mentioned that, it doesn't make sense that Americans are surprised that they have to pay taxes. But I kind of would be. You've got no healthcare. Your schools are a firing range. It's like, where is this money going? How on earth am I paying taxes? It kind of makes sense to forget, given you don't see the fruits of your donations to the government,
Ledger, any response as a representative of the IRS?
I wasn't listening to Cred. But to your point, I'm a doxed American individual who is going to make certain that I pay my taxes. So I don't want to be like, if you remember like the people that got sued who were like on LimeWire or Napster and stuff, like I don't want to be the example.
No, dude, we're not as old as you.
You see, there was a day where people burned music. They turned CDs into digital music and then shared it with other people. And there were some lawsuits around that where Americans got sued for whatever copyright infringement and stuff. And there were like these poor plebs, might have been people like me, that were made examples of. I don't want to be made a crypto example of. So I pay my freaking taxes. And I therefore also need to know what I'm doing, because, I don't want to get more wrecked than being 100 IQ already.
All right, I'm adding IRS logo to the side, the sidebar as a sponsor of this stream. So the second thing I wanted to talk about was on-chain analytics, and I think that there's been a presentation prepared. Cred, do you have something you want to show us?
Are you really sure you don't want to keep that to the end? Just fair warning.
No, because look, the most important things, like when a dump happens, right? The most important things you have to do is one, you've got to check 4chan. It's is there any posts on 4chan about this, so we can understand why this happened? And if there's nothing on 4chan, the next thing to do is check the on-chain analytics, because that'll tell you what happened afterwards. Do you know what I mean?
For sure. Okay. I mean, I can call in my colleague. He's the CEO of OnChain Cred LLC, and they've got some pretty innovative views on on-chain analysis.
Let's chat to OnChain Cred.
All right. Let me get him set up. 1 sec.
Please don't share your screen to my DMs again like you did on the test run.
See how Cred does here. I'm glad I'm not hosting, because I'd be tempted to fill this dead air space right now. Ah, there we go.
Are any of those real words?
Let's get it. Let's learn something.
I'm ready. I'm feeling good. Is he still with us?
He's muted.
Cred.
Editing the title.
He's muted and stuck.
It's stuck all 1 second. I think he's having second thoughts about doing this.
Okay,
presentation
I'm
that I
good.
prepared.
I'm good. Buttons are
He's back.
difficult. Okay, right. So this is really important, right? As a trading educator, washed up from 2018, it's my job to keep the public informed on important developments when it comes to trading and investing in the cryptocurrency space. And a source of alpha is on-chain analysis. So I thought I'd do this little presentation titled On-Chain Analysis, Leading the Renaissance of Empiricism in Distributed Ledger Technologies.
The Renaissance.
Well, I understand half of the words, huh? Just
The
awesome.
Renaissance. Like, oh my gosh, that was beautiful, Cred.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's begin. Some stuff about me. Now, first of all, before I dive into the specifics, people think I'm just like a technical trader and all I do is TA. But I do have some origins in on-chain analysis. Specifically, when I met Willy Woo at a soup kitchen after Adaptive Capital got liquidated at like 3K
Wow.
Bitcoin, we had a really kind of in-depth and eye-opening conversation about on-chain analysis. And the pioneer of on-chain really opened my eyes towards this field. And since then, I've dedicated a lot of time towards it. So some things about me, some background to establish credibility. I was in Michael Saylor's class in MIT. I was the night shift janitor, but facts don't matter, as we'll learn. I first bought Bitcoin in December 2017, a memorable date for all of us. And as we'll discuss, the on-chain adoption metrics are very positive in 2017. So that position was really good. And then I took profit on my 2017 purchase on the 12th of March in 2020. The predictive models that I looked at for on-chain were pretty bearish and suggestive of sell pressure. So I took profit on my longs from a few years ago. And so recently I re-entered the market in April 2021 because Coinbase outflows were like really big for like so many days. We'd dip and the market looked like shit, but the outflows were really big. And that has to be bullish because Zuckerberg posted a picture of a goat on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. So it was really a case of the stars aligning in that case. And nowadays, I'm a full-time analyst at OnChain Cred LLC. Our motto is our on-chain is off the chain. And our primary purpose is to persuade institutional investors to buy high and sell low. If anyone's interested in further products that we have, by the end of my terribly compelling presentation, we have a paid website, newsletter, paid podcast, Patreon, OnlyFans, merch, Cameo, referral links to all major exchanges, as well as a private Discord. But we don't really need to use them because we make so much money from on-chain analytics. Those are just there for passive income, Gary V motivation videos. So what are the core suppositions of on-chain analytics? I want to focus on three. The first one is that technical analysis isn't real. So a few points of evidence towards that proposition. First of all, you're literally hallucinating lol. That seems to apply to most market participants who take TA seriously. But there are more concrete examples we can rely on from the real world. First of all, we're all about empirical evidence. Crypto Donald uses TA unironically, so it must be evil. First point. That's pretty self-evident. Secondly, and I'm glad Sam is here to confirm, Alameda eats our breakfast, lunch, dinner, and all of our snacks, yet has 0 TA guides. Isn't that curious? If technical analysis had any merit, predictive power, alpha, whatsoever, do you really think the top trading firms in the crypto space would avoid using it? Of course not. It just doesn't exist. It doesn't work. Now, again, sorry to bring it down a little bit and be colloquial, but come on, line, box, shape, harmonic, like you have to be fucking special to take any of that seriously. It's $1 trillion asset class, people trading multi-million positions, and you're using crayons on candlestick charts. Like you need an urgent psychiatric intervention if you take that seriously. And of course, the last point, if TA were real, as I said, quant firms would recruit from art schools and not maths, computer science, engineering grads, etc. So the weight of the evidence really suggests that technical analysis isn't real. Now, contrast that with on-chain analysis, which is data-driven and scientific, right? That's where the Renaissance title comes from. So if we go back to basics, the architecture of on-chain analytics, as we all know, the blockchain, 2 words, is by design, tamper-proof, immutable, decentralized, intangible, and transcendent. There are lots of other adjectives which are applicable, but those are just some of the ones which are applicable to blockchain. Accordingly, on-chain analysis empirically and rigorously, never in hindsight, scrutinizes this ineffable data set to give you actionable real-time signals, real alpha that we care about, okay? And a classic example of that is institutional investors who bought Bitcoin at 60K. They really like on-chain analytics, so it has to be legit. There are real-world examples for it. That's been a lot of theory. I do want to bring some facts and science into this presentation. So what I thought I would do is make a bullish case for Bitcoin, actually an extremely bullish case for Bitcoin based on on-chain analysis. So we'll actually start with some futures data. As we know, it's called futures data because it tells us about the future. So I thought we should rely on it a little bit as an information source. So as you can see, I've got a chart of the aggregated open interest of Bitcoin futures. Now, for those of you for whom English isn't your first language, aggregated means angry or disgruntled, right? And open interest is how open are people towards showing an interest in Bitcoin. So as you can see on the chart, for a long time, aggregated open interest was actually going up. But then more recently, aggregated open interest went down. So people are actually less angry and more open-minded towards hearing about Bitcoin as the price has slipped. That's really bullish and presents a very positive environment for the price to appreciate. So that's aggregated open interest. Some more futures data from the future. Here we have the Bitcoin annualized daily basis from Binance. Now, what this actually means is it's showing the number of people who are making their annualized salary just by holding Bitcoin on a daily basis. So whatever they earn per year at their normal job, this shows the number of people who make their yearly income just by holding Bitcoin. Now, it looks like the number is going down, which is typically bearish. But as you can see, and this isn't technical analysis because I'm an on-chain guy, the annualized basis is reaching this really key level of support, which means it's going to go up. So the number of people who are making their yearly income from holding Bitcoin, which is what the annualized daily basis is, that's inevitably going to increase. And you can see it's coming into a key level now, and that's undoubtedly bullish. Again, the bid-ask spread. For those of you who aren't familiar with data from the future, the bid-ask spread is how far word of mouth travels when people ask you about Bitcoin. So in this case, you can see we've got pretty wide spreads. So when people discuss and talk about Bitcoin, it means the word of mouth travels a long way. More people hear about it, more people buy into the Ponzi. So when spreads get really wide, that's really bullish. It means more people are hearing about Bitcoin and sets up a nice environment for bullish continuation. More data, because we love science. We have the BTC block reward in USD. Now, I know this is difficult and people might not be familiar with the terminology, but you'll typically talk to traders and what they'll tell you is, oh, you need to pay your tuition to the market. You need to lose money first before making money. So what the block reward in USD is, it's the amount of money you need to lose before you actually make money in crypto. And as you can see per this data set, it's actually been going down a lot. And now you only need to lose $30,000 to make money in crypto, right? So you enter crypto, you lose 30K and that number is decreasing, and then you can start making money. And that's pretty bullish. You can see the trend here is quite firmly down, which is positive. We have the average transaction fee on Bitcoin, the 7-day moving average. So you can see in the last cycle, top bubble retail mania, this thing was really high and then it went down. And more recently with the recent top, we have similar structure with the fees, the average transaction fee being really high, and now it's going down a lot. Now, you might think naively that, hey, this was the top, it went down, surely this is the top, and now the market's bearish. My answer to that is you are wrong because this time is different. We have some more data, Bitcoin miner revenue. So for those of you who are concerned or don't know what miner revenue is, anyone who's a miner is someone who's under the legal adult age within their jurisdiction. And we know young people are the future of this country. So what Bitcoin miner revenue is showing you is how much young people, typically under the age of 18, are spending on Bitcoin purchases. So as miner revenue is going up, these young people are making more money and spending it to buy Bitcoin, which is really bullish. Another one, more data because we love science. It's transactions on the Bitcoin network, which is a daily chart, the 7-day moving average. Now you might think, well, this is going down, so less economic activity on the network. Isn't that bearish? Well, the answer is no, because this drop is correlated with the drop in price in Bitcoin. So what this actually suggests to me is that people were too paralyzed watching their net worth evaporate during the crash, and therefore they weren't transacting their Bitcoin. That means fewer people sending their money to the exchanges, and selling pressure is reduced because of the sheer panic and the unaffordable fees to transfer from a wallet to panic sell on an exchange. That's really bullish. If people are too gripped by fear to sell, there are fewer sellers in the market, which is great. This is really important. This is the Bitcoin exchange, Bitcoin change in exchange balances. So normally, as we have the more information here, it says assets held on exchange increase if more participants want to sell than to buy, and if buyers choose to store their assets on exchanges. So you might naively think that, hey, well, people are depositing to exchanges to sell. You can see it's gone up quite a lot. Isn't that bearish? And the answer is no, because what they're actually doing is depositing Bitcoin as collateral to long the bottom and keep buying. So that's really bullish. And this time it's different in terms of the data set. So yes, there are more Bitcoin is being held in exchange balances, but it's being used to long, which is really bullish. And this is another representation of that data point. You can see, someone really inexperienced in on-chain analysis could say that price is going down as the amount of Bitcoin held in reserves is going up. Isn't that bearish? And my answer is no, because I've now drawn this horizontal level. So this relationship is going to stop and we're going to bottom. Really important to rely on that. Another key point, I've got one more after this. This is Bitcoin issuance. So for those of you who don't know how issuance is or what it works or how it works, so this is the number of people having issues with Bitcoin generally, sort of losing their private keys, sending their Bitcoin to fake Elon Musk giveaways, all of that type of stuff, right? Now, if we interpret the data, which is what on-chain analytics is, as the Bitcoin price is going down, issuance is also going down. So fewer people are having problems with the fact that Bitcoin price is going down. Like you ask them, hey, price is down. What do you think? It's not an issue, bro. And that's what this data point is reflecting. So as holders become more accustomed to lowering prices, they're less likely to sell and more likely to hold. They just don't take issue with the fact that price is dropping. That's what Bitcoin issuance is. Lightning network capacity. We've got Bitcoin and dollar. This is a pretty obvious chart. Doesn't matter what Lightning Network is. Nobody cares. No one uses it. But what you can see in terms of the data is that USD has rallied and reached resistance against Bitcoin. So what this means is USD is a shit coin that's going to go down and Bitcoin is going to continue its upwards trajectory. You can see there was a big separation between these two lines for quite a while. And now they've met and it seems like USD has found resistance against BTC. And that means BTC is bullish against USD. Pretty straightforward. More on-chain data, MVRV Z-score. What this actually stands for is might V reverse when it comes to price action. And if you look at where that data point is, we kind of reached historic lows on the might V reverse indicator, and now it's gone up from there. So that means the probability of a V reversal in Bitcoin is higher than before. And lastly, the realized HODL ratio. This is the number of people who realized how much more money they'd have if they just held Bitcoin and disconnected their exchange from GainseyBot API. And as we can see from this data set, again, the realized HODL numbers are increasing even as price is decreasing. So that's really bullish. Oh, that's the last one. Bitcoin reserve risk, really important for fundamentals. This is the chance. So what reserve risk is, it's what's the risk that Bitcoin becomes the reserve currency of the world. And this went down to support and is bouncing. So as this continues to increase, the probability of Bitcoin becoming the world reserve asset also increases. It's approaching historically low levels, which means it's a good time to buy. If you have any questions, you need to buy our $10,000 product. And I can answer them then, but otherwise, that's all I've got for on-chain. I hope it's helpful, and good luck trading it.
Yikes!
Sam, we need to know if this is similar to the kind of analysis that Alameda uses. Like, what are Alameda's official comments on this presentation?
Right. Yeah, the TA comment is accurate. I remember a few weeks ago. We realized that no one, I forget which term it was, but we realized no one knew like a very basic TA term. And I saw on Twitter that I might have to Google what a Bollinger Band is, which I forgot to do. So I don't know what that is. But
Bollinger Band is a future up-only guest confirmed today. Ooh. He's been peer pressured to come on.
Yeah. No, but overall, compelling. It was a compelling presentation for sure.
Thank you very much.
Are you going to send a job offer Are you sending a job offer to Crypto Cred from Alameda directly right now, or are you going to wait till after the stream?
I did screenshot the part where he mentioned us and posted it on our Slack, so we will discuss internally.
We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Cred, Dank Lion in the chat says this guy should have his own show. I don't know if you heard, but you have a future in live streaming.
I'll give it a go eventually.
My favorite comment in the chat was someone that just said, "Bro, I think he's just wasted our time," which was funny for two reasons. Reason number one was maybe he hasn't. Maybe this is useful information. And secondly was the idea that you were forced to watch. It's like, this thing's happening and it's been going on for 5 minutes, but I'm going to keep tuning in.
I'm still here.
This is what you get when you try to help people and open their eyes. It's just the disbelievers. The TA lobby is really strong. They get really emotional when you point out the spurious grounds on which their worldview is built.
Cred, also, I hope you're looking forward to your Dubai boxing challenge from Willy Woo.
Oh, dear. Yeah, that
I
was
do.
fun. Also, I should make clear everything I said was a joke. I don't like... I've never met Willy Woo. I'm sure he's a great guy. I don't know enough about OnChain.
Don't backtrack now. Stick with it. Hold your ground.
I forgot to
sir.
do the disclaimer before, so I'm doing it after. That's how the law works. Not financial advice, right?
Although the part about Bitcoin being sent into exchanges as collateral, I do always get mad when people make claims like, "Oh, the only reason people would send it in is to sell it," because often people are just sending it in as collateral.
See, I was fucking right. Jeez.
Yeah, that one. That's a reasonable point.
But is that in itself bullish?
No, it's just
like if people are sending in to get liquidated. I guess at the end of the day, that is bullish because all of their Bitcoin transfers to the FTX insurance fund. So
Cobie, you know what the worst part of that is? If somebody might be like, "Oh crap, it's like 2,800. I need to send collateral in so I don't get liquidated." So they send their collateral in, and then it goes to 2,000, and now they get liquidated still with their additional collateral in, and they just lose twice. Like they're losing
from experience.
No, I don't. Sir, I tell people to stay off the margin.
I've had a few people like friends or like people that I followed on crypto Twitter for a while often DM me being like, "Bro, I need to post collateral. Can you help me out?" And I'm always like, "What's your margin call?" And like if their margin call is like, "All right, I feel safe with that," then I'll give them the money if they're like close enough friend or I know them. But sometimes they're like, "It's like $70 away," and I'm like, "Good luck, mate. The transaction's not going to process in time. You're fucked."
It's game over.
So
we lost a lot of good people.
We did. Cobie's being hella rude to Ledger. That's just our relationship. It's like friendly banter, like when you're mean to someone that you like.
It's just mild abuse.
So, how's everyone's market outlook looking for the next sort of like midterm? I guess like short term's hard to say because it's like noise, and long term we know it's up only. Or if you don't believe it's up only, you can get off the stream. But like midterm, like over the next the next year or 2 years, has hopium gone, or is there still reason to believe? Can we say if only before we change to down only?
So usually after a 60%, after the 60% drop, you don't just go straight up again. So I'd expect consolidation for pretty much everything. If it has made a new high, then it'll probably get sold into. I don't think there's that many inflows coming into alts at the moment. Like I don't see why you'd buy. Like why wouldn't you buy when it's 50% off? Why would you buy the highs? People are really impatient. So
you buy the all-time highs. That's when you know it's bullish.
Yeah, easy. I made an Ethereum chart like a couple of years ago, and that had like quite a large flash crash that never happened. I was expecting like a sort of mini bubble and then sideways and then continuation. So I'm thinking maybe that's what we've just had for ETH, and now we'll go sideways. We should still be bullish into EIP 1559, but I don't think I don't think we'll see highs for a year or so.
A year or so. That's a long time,
Don't
mate.
break our hearts.
I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna be alive in a year.
Hopefully, just
Bro,
silent.
Path just said no highs for a year or so. Chat is going to be
You just hurt my feelings. You
devastated.
hurt my feelings.
Ledger is visibly upset.
Noobs, dude. Those of us who haven't made it, how are we supposed to do it now? How are we supposed to make it? You got to help. Tell us what to do, Path.
All in on leverage, obviously. But like,
just trade the chop on leverage. It'll be fine.
to address like my Zcash holdings as well, like I've been bullish forever and it's never gone anywhere. There's a lot of like old legacy coins. So Litecoin is in this basket, Tezos, a lot of them like that. Like they've underperformed Bitcoin or they've underperformed Ethereum. And they've all sort of like moved together. They've been very correlated, but they've never really had a pump. And now like they've fallen like 75% off the last high. Like that's not a healthy market. That's more like in the dot-com bubble, we had a lot of stocks that are all correlated and they did sort of like a similar thing. They have huge intraday moves, but like they're not, it's not good. It's not good long term. Like they won't.
Path, the chat is very upset with you right now. I think you need to submit an apology.
Sorry,
you know, I don't know what it was. It was a while ago, but Suzu actually tweeted once that he's going to stop revealing alpha and he's only going to start bull posting because the reply guys, when he posts like anything bearish, is so bad that like it's not even worth it. So he's flipped to bull posting only, and now people are annoyed that he's only bull posting. Tradinglord, what's your outlook? Do we have to wait a year before we can be rich?
I don't think so. I think Ethereum is going to carry us through 100%. EIP 1559 is going to carry us through. I mean, it's going to start to be deflationary. We're going to be fine, 100%.
Damn, your
it's
face
only
right now is
deflationary if people
terrifying.
use it, though.
DeFi is not going to go away. I mean, you've seen the fucking people. I mean, at the end of the day, over the past like 6 months, since January, the amount of people that got onboarded into DeFi and like understood that it's literally so much better and so much smoother, unless the transaction fees are fucking nuts. But besides that, DeFi is here to stay. And for now, Ethereum is the main layer. And I think it's going to stay that way. So over the next 6 months, I think Ethereum is going to carry us through. That's it. So 5K through summer again.
How do you feel about the two bullish narratives for Ethereum sort of cancelling each other out, where like layer 2 is one super bullish narrative, like ETH's going to be usable again, it's currently fucking broken, it doesn't work, you can't send a transaction without going broke, so you got to use layer 2. And EIP 1559 is the other bullish narrative of like it's going to be deflationary, we're going to burn so much ETH, but if we're not spending out nothing on gas and people
volume-wise, I think volume is going to carry us through 100%.
Cobie, you're not supposed to talk about that yet. You're supposed to let the 1559 pump happen before you start talking about people not having to spend money on gas anymore.
I mean, look, I've got to talk my truth. That's the way this works. I've just got to say.
I want to know what Sam thinks
people
about
get upset
it.
with me.
Mr. Sam, what do you think about both fundamental things?
That's your way of saying sir.
Thank you for the deference. So I think that the main thing we've seen over and over again is that the market just really overreacts to news, and then like sort of slowly like reverts back. Like we've seen that like on a short time scale, like even today, like the market really overreacted to like whatever this U.S. tax thing was, and it sort of like already bounced back halfway, or like at least halfway as of the start of this show. And it's just kind of like it seems like that just keeps happening over and over. And I would sort of expect a longer term version of that to be happening over the next like month or whatever, because I think the market's reacted pretty strongly negatively to things like Elon announcing that like Doge is better than Bitcoin, like the China rumors or whatever. So I sort of expect that market to sort of revert this overreaction, and it's not like this is new either. Like it happened with like the XRP SEC news in December 2020, like. The market really overreacted to that and then kind of climbed back. So I don't actually know, but my guess would be that what we're currently in the middle of is an overreaction that the market will recover from, but it's kind of hard to say. In terms of like fundamental opinions about like Ethereum or any specific coins, like I wouldn't say I have anything super strong to say. I could believe that these narratives are right. I would tend to favor things like Solana, which obviously I'm biased toward. But yeah, my sense is just that like if you just like look at how the market's reacted to literally every piece of news in the past few years, there's been a pattern, and I would expect it to continue.
Is it Psyops that Loomdart, famous from the quote "Pump it Loomdart," tweeted he was buying Solana on the same day that Coinbase listed Solana? They listed it like 10 minutes after he said it. Is this what it means to pump it Loomdart?
Loomdart knew.
Loomdart knew. Of course he knew. He gets all the information.
Right.
He was also he was an insider on 4chan telling us about the China Justin something. God damn it, Loomdart.
So Cobie, I need to break Cred's confidence and read DMs from Cred that he sent me. Okay.
Yo, Ledger, no, don't. Come on, don't be ridiculous. Let's do that after. I'm asking you not to.
Can we get a vote? Can we get a vote from?
No, Ledger DMs. You know the propriety of DMs is sacred beyond all else. Don't be silly.
Can I just?
Nope. I'm explicitly asking you. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. I just might have shown the screenshot of it. I might have shown a screenshot. Sorry. Okay, I will do it.
I mean, I want to know what it is now, but you can tell me afterwards.
Yeah, I'll send it to you afterwards, Cobie.
Cred, what's your macro outlook? Is it done? Are we done? Is it over? Do we have to like go get jobs now? Did you see the tweet that McDonald's posted that they're not hiring anyone that's ever traded cryptocurrency?
Is that real?
Really? What the fuck?
Oh
no! I saw
no!
a screenshot on Telegram.
That's like most people after the pandemic, isn't it? Like everyone traded something at some point. It feels like. I mean, look, there's a certain futility in asking me about macro stuff. I can like buy the bottom and then sell it for grocery change money stuff. So maybe not the best person for that. Yeah, look, I think we like to romanticize the idea of like a bottom entry because the number looks cool and it carries certain gravitas on social media, etc. Like the lowest entry isn't always the best entry for longs. There's just a certain built-in bias for that. Like when 6K broke down, yeah, you could have been buying, 5, 4, 3, etc. But then you're holding that for like weeks, months, like for an indeterminate period. And then I know a lot of people who bought down there. By the time it actually got back to 6, the mental capital was so empty that they were cutting really early or were super defensive about those trades. Whereas the Chads who were just buying the 6K reclaim, they had a really easy time holding because it was almost like a high probability, quick moving momentum trade type of deal. So I think honestly, I even tweeted this on the way down during the nuke. I said a lot of people would be better off buying the next all-time high break rather than trying to catch the bottom and hold it into whatever they think it's going to hold. Midterm, generally, as I said, like I'm pretty bad person to ask about that. In terms of what my system says, like the first bit seems to be over where you get a big nuke and then a big bounce. That's like one trade window, which I think is a good one to trade. I think we're done the easy portion of that. And then the next one tends to be when you grind up to previous structures where where you had support and you expect resistance. If they start to fail, that tends to be pretty good. So for Bitcoin, I don't know, like 46, 48, 50, wherever the prior lows came in, if no one wants to sell at those levels, then by that point, the technical traders are all out of ammo, and then we're also up a certain percentage from the lows, et cetera, et cetera. It'll start to look pretty decent. I like to think market structure is a good guide. So you either want to, I mean, for normies or Prometheus of the plebs, whatever, I think buying the all-time high break isn't a terrible idea. In the same way that waiting for daily market structure to shift, like get a higher high or just some evidence of a shift in conditions, that'll probably be pretty decent. On the fundamental side, I want to, like, one of the reasons I got cautious at like 58, 59K, whatever, is because the market started reacting to news in a different way, right? We had the direct listing, market got really bullish into it, and then price essentially disagreed with positioning and we all ate shit, right? So typically in a bull market, what you want to see is bad news being absorbed and good news basically turbocharging the market, right? Whereas recently we've kind of had the opposite where good news doesn't really do much, bloody Tom Brady laser eyes, whereas bad news, even if it's not bad news, just like any headline risk just gets sold into. So I think even if you're not a technical guy, which is fine, seeing a kind of shift in behavior in that regard, like what are we doing with the headlines, that'll probably be a pretty decent signal for people who don't give a shit about charts. I don't know if I've even answered the question, but I've said some words.
I don't remember what the question was. Does anyone remember what the question was? No one knows, mate. It was good.
I think it
answer.
was something along the
about the
lines
macro
of,
structure.
are we going to make
macro
it?
structure. Are we going to make it or not? That was the question.
I think if you like when you end up in situations like this, it's the best thing to do is just to like break down the possible potential scenarios that you can have. So like if you have the current timeline, right? You've got a current reality, and then you've got all the possible future realities. It's like Doctor Strange shit. It's like you've got all the possible future realities, and then you've got a weight of probability to each of them, and that can like help you figure out what to do next. So like it nukes 60%. And historically, 60% nukes have meant the bull market's over. So one possible scenario is the bull market's over. It nukes 60%, and this time we've got a ton more leverage in the system. And if there wasn't all that leverage in the system and options didn't impact the mean reversion and stuff, then maybe it wouldn't have gone so low. So there's an argument that the bull market is not over and the market is fundamentally changed from the impacts of derivatives and options, and Binance offering people 700x leverage. So scenario 2 is the bull market is not over, it can keep going up. Scenario 3 is it looks a lot like a fractal from 2013, where we had a pump into April up to like $200 or something, and then it crashed down to like $30, and then you had an end of year like double bubble. And so far the market tracks that fractal pretty well. So that's a third scenario. Maybe fourth scenario is like the market was an entire scam, it's only going to go down forever, it's over. And the fifth scenario is like Suzu was right, it's a super cycle and it literally only goes up. So if you take those 5 potential future realities that fork off our current reality, you weight them with probabilities where you go like, okay, 40% chance it's over, 40% chance it's a double bubble, and everything else is like a 4 or 5% chance or whatever, or whatever adds up to 100. Then you can make your trades. You like go, right, well, if all of the probabilities that suggest I should go long, you sum them up, the probability of that is 80% and the probability of short is less, then cool. Like, I'm going to go long now and you can figure it out later. But I now realize that I'm talking about probabilistic thinking and like any statistics on a stream where Crypto-Cred just did a 7-minute presentation about on-chain analytics might be the wrong tone. Chat said, how do you weight it, dude? You just make it up. You just think, what do I think is most likely based on the information that I have?
Yeah, that's honestly not dissimilar from what Alameda does on some level.
Just make it up.
Well, no, the kind of the kind of hand wavy probability distribution construction, and an important thing there is that it's not just like 80% up or 20% down, but like figuring out like how much it's going to go up if it goes up and how much it's going to go down if it goes down is super important too. Like this is actually one way to frame why getting short yesterday at 40K was good. Like even if you don't really have a strong opinion, like, oh, in the next 5 minutes it's going to go up or down, like even if you say it's 50-50, which I think is probably not right. It probably was like a little more likely to go down. The asymmetry of like how much it's going to go down versus how much it will go up if it goes down in the next few minutes or up in the next few minutes made it so that it was just good to get short even if you have no idea, because we were at a local low, meaning there were going to be liquidations down, and there would not have been liquidations up if it had gone right back up. Meaning that even if it's a coin flip, like you're going to make more money on average if you just sell at that point than if you buy. So like this is the kind of distribution that we really like thinking about at Alameda, and has tended to work quite well, at least on average.
Yeah, so it's just adding on the expected returns from each trade, right? So like if the long scenario plays out, what is the risk, what is the reward? And then you just like weight all those things across, and like you can reduce this whole thing to simple math. Bro, it's just easy. It's like 1 + 1 = 6.
Yeah, it's the same reason that getting long Doge in January was good, because even if you don't know if it's going to go up or down, the upside just seemed like it was like 100x, and the downside can at most be you lose all your money, which is just -1, like 1, and it made it so that the upside was just so asymmetric with the downside. You only needed Elon to keep pumping it like a small fraction of the time for it to make sense to buy it.
Can someone please clip that? The downside is you just lose all your money.
But like you could 100x it, and that's so much better than losing all of it. or that's so much better than like losing all of it is bad.
Unbelievable.
Oh my god. The downside is just you can lose all your money, and the upside is 100x. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, it's just like a
Oh my god.
like a good lottery.
That's
Did
going to be
any
my
of y'all ever
mental from
watch,
now on. What are you saying, Ledge?
Did any of y'all watch The Price is Right? Like where they do like the Plinko boards and you like drop the chip and then it like bounces around.
Is this where they run around a supermarket buying shit and then they've got to guess how much it cost?
No, it's like a... Sam had that all ready to go. Like, what do you typically do at around 10 a.m.?
They do that at hospitals
time.
as well, right? If you're sick, you kind of go in there and then you just grab as many pills and treatments as doctors as you can, and then you try to get help when you're sick because there's no healthcare system. It's like a very similar game.
So the
Ledger,
Plinko board is like...
when I'm allowed to travel to your country, can we do our own version of Supermarket Sweep on stream?
Oh, absolutely. The people would really enjoy that.
I really enjoy that. That'll be fun for me. Because like when it's like for me this is quite fun. Like, you know, I stay in my house and I've got a bunch of people to talk to. But when the pandemic in the UK, I know it's over everywhere else. There's no COVID. There's only COVID in the UK now. But when it's over in the UK as well, everyone just goes to their job. Everyone's at work, and I'm like, oh. And like,
now what do I
are
do?
working from home, watching crypto streams while they're supposed to be working. So I'll just come do Supermarket Sweep with you.
We'll do Supermarket Sweep, and we'll give you some like good Southern items. We'll be like, Cobie, quick, go find pimento cheese, and you'll be like, what is pimento cheese?
You guys need to do a stream where you switch accents for the entire like hour and a half. I think that'd be pretty good, at least for my entertainment.
I don't think I've ever heard Cobie attempt a Southern accent, but that's now my second regrettable attempt at an English accent.
That's okay. proper bad at accents, like really, really bad. Like they all just sound the same thing. They all just sound wrong.
I don't think mine's any different. According to brief analysis of the chat, mine is also just wrong.
I thought it was all right.
Thanks.
I just realized we got Mark Cuban in the chat again. Stop, Mark Cuban. Thanks for tuning in
Shout
to the
out.
streams. Tradinglord, I want to go way, way, way back to the early days. I saw a tweet you posted.
Cobie,
don't
go down that road. Are you about to talk about mothership?
Like way, way back. No.
Okay.
Well, kind of, in a way. Like, I want to go way back because I saw you posted a tweet about like, you know, I lost like my entire net worth 7 times or something.
22.
Yeah, like, and we've had a few guests, and the general sentiment has always been surviving is the most important thing, right? Like, there's 2 things that always come up when you chat to people. It's like, one is like just be exposed to the market and survive. And you make it. And secondly, it's like have a good group of people around you that can like help you make it. Like you're only as good as your network, and sometimes when you have everyone has those moments of like their conviction just completely crumbles, and they having the right people around them to be like, bro, this is my trade, or don't worry about it, or I would do this, or I would do that, helps a lot. And I saw your tweet and it was like, you know, I've lost my entire bag like 3 times or something, and now 2021, whatever the year is, 2021, like made it and got a good crew. Can you like just chat a little bit about that journey, and if any of it can translate into sort of actionable advice for anyone listening that maybe got into crypto like this year or something?
Yeah, 100%. So the thing is, I am not the brightest candle on the cake, right? I'm a regular guy, went to university, everything's fine. You know, you got to be honest with yourself. I mean, first thing is self-reflection. I mean, for example, English is my 4th language, literally. Like, I'm from Luxembourg, smallest country in the world. We speak French, German, Luxembourgish, and then, like, the 4th one is English. So we try to figure it out, but at the end of the day, a little flex after I said I'm dumb as fuck. Luxembourgish, yes.
That's
all the Luxembourgish
language?
boys watching. Yeah. It's a proper language. It's an official
Can you
language.
hit us a little bit?
Yeah.
Can you just
Van
say
Schoof,
give us a
ik
little
heb
bit of
net te
Luxembourgish.
schwätzen. Okay, de Cobie is zo'n vlotte gaat. Je had dit bij een boys dat hij gaat cooken. Oei, dat hij gaat suspect. But yeah, long story short, I was very fortunate that in 2016, I met a very, very, very sharp guy who told me that Bitcoin is the answer. And I was with him in some economic class, and I looked at him and I was like, yeah, you know, I'm a drop shipper. I make money already. And he looks at me and he says, yeah, what do you think about Bitcoin? You know, and at that time, it was like, well, I guess you can buy drugs with it and shit. And he was like, oh, so you're not that smart. And I'm just look at him and I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, you know, my ego got kind of just stretched. And then I went home and I was like, okay, let's just look into it like fundamentally. So since 2016, I was the guy at the party being drunk and just trying to convince you to understand what Bitcoin is all about. So socially, I was always very exposed to just various kind of people. You know, I've been studying in 3 different countries and whatever. So the only thing that I can tell people right now is, if you can read people and their cockiness, you should be fine. It sounds dumb, but for example, like I was in Barcelona at the bottom and I was holding a Bitcoin presentation and everyone in the room, like at 3K, was just like, dude, what the fuck are you saying? I am updating every second and Bitcoin goes to 0 right now. But fundamentally, no one in this room understood anything about anything. So as long as we have fundamental understanding of an asset class and you're convinced that you are superior in the sense of understanding about it, you should be fine. So for the past 5 years, I went through 2 cycles, lost it all the time, because at one point I made a lot of money and then I went all in to mothership. And I swear to God, at that point, Cobie backed me in the
Blame Cobie. Blame Cobie.
I'm 100%. No, not
dude.
100%. No. And everything's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, everything happens for a reason, in a sense. So made a lot of money because I understood Bitcoin and Ethereum and decentralization is going to change the world. I stuck to it. I was very fortunate that most of my friends are very, very smart. And at one point, we just formed a group of like very smart individuals. And I always like, you know, hang on to them and just, you know, every group needs a party guy, whatever. So for the past 5 years, I've been just going up and down. Life is crazy. 2 bubbles happened. Learned a bunch. This time it's going to be different in the sense of I know that when everything is very parabolic and when people start to just be so confident without having the proper fundamental understanding about an asset class. Like I was in Tulum like 2 weeks ago and every bartender, because I have the crypto.com card, every time I paid the bill, they looked at me and said, oh, yo, I'm all in crypto as well. And then I was just like, even though I was drunk or whatever, I was just like, dude, this is 2017 December vibes. And fundamentally, I know my stuff, technical, I know my stuff, but when everything just comes together and you understand, and you just realize like at the bar paying that the bartender is all in Dogecoin and Shiba Inu and whatever, we should be pretty close to a top. So once things get super crazy, you should just gradually scalp out. And that's what I did. And that's what I posted on Twitter when I just said, if I look at the weekly candles on Ethereum in a linear chart and everyone's like, oh, you're a trader and you don't use logarithmic. I'm just like, dude, just look at the linear chart of Ethereum US dollar. This is pretty irrational. This is pretty fucking nuts. So at that point, and again, over the past 3 weeks, everyone outperformed me. But you just need to swallow the pill and say, I don't care. I know that we're about to we're a week from the top, either with 3, either with 4. I don't care. I'm going to stick to the plan and just take profits. And so when just the whole surrounding starts to go mentally crazy like we did in 2017, I'm not going to do the fucking same mistake again and just, get fucked again.
Yeah, I do think it's underappreciated how much having your own plan and sticking to it. Because like a lot of people, you know, they're saying, oh, blame Suzu, or Cryptopathic told me the bottom of Ethereum.
Suzu is never going to know your name. He doesn't care. He lives in a reasonably sized house. You do not, you know. Everyone does their own thing. So you just need to look out for yourself. And once things go really parabolic and once everything just goes really crazy, and I'll be honest, at one point, like during the past 3 weeks, we woke up and we were like, okay, this is pretty fucking serious. Like Ethereum just keeps on going. Every Shiba Inu coin does a fucking times 100. You know, this is euphoria. This is close to a fucking top. What can I say, you know? And then you just gotta fucking be real with yourself and say, okay, I'm gonna take some US dollar, even if everyone calls me have fun staying poor or whatever. You gotta do what you gotta do.
God damn it, Udi. Brought it into the world. Yeah, I do think that like having conviction in your own plan is like super important, because when you're trading on someone else's signals or someone else's information or something, you can't update the model. Like you know the output of the model, right? But you don't know what the inputs to their model are. You don't know what variables they're tracking and stuff. So you don't know the point at which their analysis changes. So you rely on them like tweeting you live updates on like, probability of my tweet from 7 weeks ago is reduced by 35%, and like you don't get that. So having conviction in your own plan and trying to understand like the think critically about why you're in a position or why something is the way it is or how it can be invalidated, I think is super important. And obviously lost on a bunch of crypto Twitter participants, but maybe it'll be lost.
My question for you from here is, how do you trade it from here on out? Like, are you willing to take a scalp? Is there any time where you're interested in taking a longer term position? How do you determine that you may be wrong in terms of the secular trend in the market?
Are talking to me, Ledger?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Assuming you're basically out now.
No, I'm not. I am 100% that Ethereum is going to be, and I'm sorry for Mr. Solana. I'm just saying, like, I am very, 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 very bullish on Ethereum. I am extremely bullish on Ethereum, and I've been bullish on Ethereum since $7, and now if I can get some sub 2,000, I'm just going to buy everything I can. And I have Solana exposure as well, and all the DeFi coins, whatever. But yeah, I'm going to position myself for the next 24 months from now. And I feel like most of the people entering right now, just like I was in 2017, just so short-sighted. Like everyone's just like, okay, but what in 2 weeks? What in 3 weeks? I don't care. Ethereum makes sense. For now, it's the most dominant blockchain. For now, Mr. Solana. For now, it's the most used and dominant blockchain. Yeah, and I think I am betting on the winning horse. And I've been doing this for a while. And I think I have an edge, and I think people are getting scared because of short-term fluctuations and whatever. But I think fundamentally, Ethereum might be the winner, and there will be obviously several chains.
So you've been talking about partials then, like you've been taking partials off the table, not like I'm out, game over.
No. Crypto's here to stay. If someone in this room right here, right now, thinks that in 2 years from now, no one's in some way or the other is going to use crypto, then I don't know. I mean, we're way too down the rabbit hole to just say like, yeah, maybe it's going to disappear at one point. I don't see any scenario where we can just literally everything goes to zero. I mean, it makes too much sense. The thing that I'm betting on is a central bank digital currency using Ethereum or Solana to issue their currency on it, and then at that point, like, it's game on. So I think Ethereum might be like literally worth like 15K, 20K.
I just saw like a complete
For
poker
the
face.
record, I think they're both currently likely good buys, and we also bought as much Ethereum as we could yesterday when it got below 2,000, to say the least.
When you said central bank digital currency, Sam did the best poker face of all time. What do you know?
He knows.
What do you know, mate?
He knows.
You like went from smiling to like dead neutral. Like, mate, don't show an emotion.
that's just my face. I am off-putting.
So, Sam, for the chat's benefit, how did you and Alameda come around? Like, what were you doing pre-Alameda? How did you get into crypto? And I've got a bunch of Alameda questions I'll follow up with.
Yeah, of course. So I was like one of those like math nerds growing up. So was SBF, and we met at a math camp during high school.
What?
Yeah, like a literal math camp. It's like a bunch, like 100 kids live in like a college dorm for 6 weeks, and they just sort of like take advanced math classes. It's pretty much exactly what you'd expect. But anyway, that's how I met Sam. And then we also both went to MIT, and so like I've known him for a while. And then so I after college I ended up at Susquehanna, which is a traditional finance firm. It's like a quant trading firm, trading like all the normal products. I was there for a few years. In 2017, I sort of started looking at the crypto markets, and like there were some things that sort of looked like data errors in what I was looking at. It's like a percent arbs on like the two biggest spot exchanges, and sort of assumed they were fake, but looked into it for a bit and like was able to execute it. Decided it was irresponsible not to be just doing this instead of my job, because could be making a lot more doing that. So I did that like in my PA for a while, was working on some other stuff after leaving. And then, Sam started Alameda. I got in touch with him and like just got dinner with him to talk about it, realized it didn't make sense not to join Alameda. And have been there ever since. Like I was doing normal trading before this, like in the like bond ETFs, and also SIG had a sports betting desk that I was also working on, just like building models for like the odds different basketball teams are going to win during the game. which turns out it's just the same as trading. But yeah, so again, now I'm at Alameda. Do like a lot of real time stuff, risk management, model building, all that stuff.
Cobie may not have seen this the other day, but can you tell us about getting your own crossword in the New York Times? What was that experience like?
Oh yeah, so in addition to being a math nerd growing up, I've also always loved playing games. One of which was Scrabble. I have always been quite good at Scrabble. And I sort of thought that playing Scrabble was the same as making crosswords, which turns out it's not, but it did make me try making them, which very different, but I also really like doing that. And yeah, I've had like 30 in the New York Times before. And I had, this past Saturday, I had the Times crossword, which is always fun.
That's awesome. Just as a side note.
Yeah.
Wait, are you saying that you can predict basketball games before they happen? Like the result?
So while they're happening, there's you can just sort of like input like various data about the game, like where the ball is on the court, what the score is, and like some other things. You can run the way we did it was like running a bunch of simulations from a given game state, and you can like understand the probability that certain scores will end up happening, from which you can back out the probability that each team will win.
Okay, I think the answer to that was yes, he can.
Yeah, and so there are like live betting markets on these things, and yeah, one thing that like Sig got into a few years ago, and like other people have gotten into, is betting in these markets, because they're quite inefficient for the most part. A lot of quote unquote dumb money is flowing into these things.
Sam, I must ask. So you're 400 IQ, MIT maths camp genius, and you were buying a lot of ETH at 1800. I'm a fucking helpless idiot, and I was buying a lot of ETH at 1800. What reasonable conclusions do you think can be drawn from that fact, or is it just a coincidence?
I mean, yeah,
mate.
Bell curves.
I think there are lots of different sets of rationales that can yield similar conclusions.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm just shook that like you're talking about how you have this incredible edge in sports gambling and basketball that you realize is there, but it obviously doesn't it's not worth it for you to spend your time on because your edge in crypto is so much greater. So like y'all are just volume, like,
if the basketball volume like 1000x overnight, I think it might be correct to start focusing on trading basketball again, or like any of the sport, like all the sports models were kind of similar, but in general they just aren't liquid enough to justify not spending all your time on crypto. Crypto is just an incredible market right now.
So it's the fact that we have low IQs and we trade at volume.
The volume is the more important thing, and
but also our low IQs or our middle IQs.
Well, really, the exchange setup is what allows a lot of the opportunity, because like there's no prime brokerage in crypto, which there is in traditional finance, which allows like all these spreads to persist. That's honestly the biggest thing, I think.
And then on Alameda's activities, like I know that you do a bunch of like VC stuff. You clearly do like a bunch of what I assume is prop trading. No LPs, I guess.
Yeah.
So right. Just like trading your own cash on futures and blah 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 blah. How do you split that time? And are you like winding down VC stuff as the market gets like more and more frothy, or are you like still allocating a decent amount to it?
Yeah. So in general, we're always just trying to do whatever is like the most profitable thing to do. And for a while, it did seem like for a while there was like every time a new project popped up, as long as you vetted like the team is like exists and is like reasonable, and like the product is like not like actually just empty or whatever, it often just was correct to buy these things because they were like gonna go up. Yeah, so I think that's gotten a little bit less true. There's more scams out there, and also like the market is just like things don't just automatically 100x anymore. But it's still like pretty valuable to be like sifting through for the ones that are good, like because a lot of the best projects we do still think there's a lot of EV in. So we're not. I wouldn't say we've winded this down at all, but we've gotten more selective about the kinds of projects that we think are worth supporting. And yeah, so I think. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go on. After you.
Oh no, I was done. You go ahead.
Yeah. Do you think there is do you think there was a trend where projects would give you a deal that was like extraordinarily good because they, as a project, wanted the signaling of like Alameda backs us, therefore like we're legit, and so they basically give you like pennies on the dollar in order to like get you like get a image that says Alameda backs us, look how high we're gonna go.
Yeah,
He's definitely not talking about Reef. Definitely not.
Yeah,
I actually wasn't. I was talking about some Solana ecosystem stuff that was that did a couple of rounds where I was like, wow.
Yeah, so in general, it's definitely true that we need, like, in order for us to want to buy a project, it does have to be good for us. And as the market has gotten less intense about like always 100xing, like that's required like pretty good prices for like the projects to give to us. And yeah, they obviously see some advantage in doing so. In some cases, I think that's because like we actually do have like we're just gonna know the way to price these things better than the average person, I think. But in some cases, yeah, like it has seemed like our reputation has been something they've wanted to rest on.
Yeah, I do think that makes sense. I think that happens a lot as you get towards the top of the cycle, and I think the signaling becomes less and less useful as the higher and higher you go, because
Yeah,
like,
for
people
sure.
forget like it's like people are like your firm tries to make money, right? Like if you get offered a great deal, you take the deal. You can't also write a blog post saying like don't buy the spot price because we're selling the spot price. But I'd love to dig a little bit more into like you haven't entirely wound it down and you're being a bit more selective. And we did a stream the other day with Konstantin Lomashuk, who's one of the like I think best performing investors over the last however long, last 5-10 years or whatever. And we chatted about narratives, like there's a layer 2 narrative with Optimism, Arbitrum and Matter Labs and Starkware. There's the derivatives, on-chain derivatives narrative with a lot of people doing similar things in slightly different ways. Altcoin options narrative, a bunch of projects doing building options in different ways. Are there some like free alpha you can leak for narratives and like product themes and product groups that you think are important over the next year or so?
Yeah, I mean, in general, just like there's a ton of different like kinds of products that I think are like going to be important going forward to have exist. In some cases, there's like a ton of competition for doing the same thing, and I think that like projects that are either unique or like clearly the best at the thing they're trying to do are the ones that we like try to focus the most on, at least for really long-term stuff. It's hard for me to say a ton of specifics just because like a lot of this isn't public. But that's the general strategy we have in evaluating these things. I know that's not an especially helpful answer.
So basically you like pick up on a key narrative and then you go deep and go, right, I think this one's probably going to be the winner for like whatever reasons. Internal analysis suggests this one's going to be the best. We'll go all in on that, basically.
Yeah, or something that's
That
very
makes a lot of
unique
sense.
that we think will have a niche that other people don't realize yet.
So you said earlier you were, bullish on both Ethereum and Solana, and I imagine you think some other layer ones could exist as well for a variety of use cases. So what are your thoughts on kind of the cross-chain communication, cross-chain liquidity, helping these ecosystems talk to one another?
Yeah, I think that to the extent that there are different use cases where like different like blockchains can be useful simultaneously, that's definitely important. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on the technology here in any real way. And I'll also note that so I do think that there exists worlds where like a ton, like more than one blockchain is like really important, even if they're like doing similar things, just because like they have different customer bases and whatnot. But it's also possible to be bullish on projects that you like, even on more than one project, even if I think that only one will end up winning. Just because like if I think the probability of like a given project at winning at like some use case is like justifies the price that it's currently trading, that I'll be bullish it. And yeah. And honestly, I'm not an expert on the technology here. We have other people who know more about it than I do, and I tend to just rest on their expertise.
I do have a couple of follow-up questions about this specific topic. However, I just sent a tweet from SBF that says that you guys meeting at math camp is wholesome until you ask about the cheesecake brownies.
Oh, that's not a good story.
You need to hear it though.
You gotta tell it
now. It's out into the world. You can't avoid telling the cheesecake brownie stories. Shout out to Luke, Ledger Status's assistant, who sent this to my attention.
Well, yeah. So Math Camp is not really known for like punishment in particular. It's because not a lot of misbehaving goes on there. But the year that I was there, I believe a group of my friends and I got two of the first were punished twice, which no one had ever even heard of happening ever. One of which was for hitchhiking, which that was like pretty actively bad. But the other was just because we snuck into the kitchen and like cooked something at 4 a.m., which we were caught doing, which really I don't. The hitchhiking I think is the
How
better
old
thing.
Were you?
To bring up as a note for Sam.
How old were you?
Like 16.
Okay, so you were cooking something at 4 a.m. aged 16.
Yeah, we weren't. It wasn't even like. It's not like it was alcohol or anything. Like we were not cool enough for that.
This is the most wholesome
Right,
story.
I was about to suggest you were like incredibly high, and you were like, "We need some food,
No,
bro."
no.
I was imagining 16-year-old you and 16-year-old SBF like super high, like, "Bro, let's make some cheesecake brownies."
No, you have to dial back what you're expecting of math camp.
I mean, fair enough. So you were chatting about layer ones, and there's two sort of controversial layer one topics to talk about, I think, and I'd love to hear everyone's opinion on this as well. But let's start with Sam, since we're chatting about cheesecake brownies and shit. The first is Bitcoin. So like Bitcoin's role in this ecosystem, and like since February it sort of unperformed. It did like a half a year consolidation and everything else went turbo, and there's been this sort of anti-proof of work narrative that Elon's propagated or perpetuated as well, and there's been a ton of attention. There hasn't been new proof of work chains launched, and yeah, like Bitcoin's like has its like community of maxes that are now like notably and very toxic and stuff. So I'd love to know how you think about Bitcoin in this ecosystem. And the second one that's very controversial is Cardano, and I just love like how you think Cardano's ended up in the position it's in, with like a lot of polarizing opinions from both sides.
Yeah, again, to be honest, this isn't an area that I am especially good at talking about or thinking about. Like we have other people on our team who are better at this than I am. I tend to care much more about predicting what the market will think than about like having my own fundamental opinions in general. Because like if the market disagrees with, even if the fundamentals are like there, like at least the short-term price movement will be what the market thinks. Just like from following like various social media, like talking to people like you guys, honestly, who I think are going to have better opinions about this than I do. It's been decently clear over the past few months that like at the very least, like people aren't exactly expecting Bitcoin dominance to rise again. Is how I've taken the way people have evolved, and I think that's what our team thinks as well. I don't have a strong fundamental opinion about it. Regarding like what I think about Cardano, I would say I don't especially think about Cardano. At least not day to day.
It's not worth your brainwaves.
I haven't heard about Cardano much.
Sam, am I mistaking this? But it sounds like y'all use market sentiment as like a pretty key indicator in the way that you trade.
At least for longer term things, we'll be trying to figure out what the market thinks ahead of like price movements. Sometimes it's not the most common thing we use, but it is something that we are always thinking about at least.
Bro, let me know when you want to do that, because if I sometimes do sentiment analysis on my own followers by posting like a tweet that's I know is going to upset people, and if people are really upset, that means they're wrecked. Like if you post something that's like in a bull market, they're like ha 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 Cobie, you're playing, and when they're wrecked, they're like, I can't believe you would tweet this. This is the most offensive thing I've ever seen. So look, I can hook you up. I can post some tweets for you. Path. We need to know, same questions. How are you feeling about like Bitcoin's role in the ecosystem, and how are you feeling about Cardano's?
Well, first of all, I want to say about people being angry. People are really upset when they said no new highs for a year. So there's that sentiment. So yeah, Bitcoin really. I used to be like last cycle. I wasn't that bullish on ETH because I thought Bitcoin would potentially take away a lot of the demand and like grow its own ecosystem with layer 2s and stuff. But that just hasn't happened. Like no one cares. And then Cardano as well. I don't care. I don't think about it. I'm all in ETH pretty much for smart contracts and that sort of stuff.
So do you think then there's a decoupling event? Do you think Suzu's decoupling narrative is real?
Yeah, I think ETH will just go its own way. I'm more bullish ETH than Bitcoin. So like I think going back to like the no new highs thing, more confident to say that about Bitcoin than ETH. I think ETH will probably still continue to outperform. And I posted that chart on Twitter the other day of the ETH BTC longs, and like whoever has like the huge position on Bitfinex, they're still adding to it. Like they've been buying the dip really hard for ETH BTC, like, and they're actually adding as it was going up today, which is not common. So,
you know, Cobie, we may be excluding some ADA community members. We have some people in the chat and listeners who are ADA fans, and Yushay Mamba says Cardano FUD constantly from this show. Should rebrand to FUD only. So just keep in mind.
Just keep in mind to if only.
Yeah.
You know what?
Well,
you know what?
We need the whole suite of terms.
Someone did a video the other day because I streamed last night. I did another Twitch streamer donation where we donated thousands of dollars to someone playing music to no viewers, and her dad came on the stream, and her dad looked a little bit like Charles, not tons, like just similar sort of hairline and had glasses and like similar sort of dad bod, and he was into crypto. Surprise, surprise! He was actually into crypto. We were like, "Do you know anything about crypto?" And he was like, "Yeah. I own Cardano," and the only thing he owned was Cardano, and I started laughing because we have this thing that constantly comes up, like the new people go straight to Cardano because they like the unit bias, they like the marketing, and a lot of the marketing is not really related to the technology. And it's become sort of an inside joke where people know I get triggered if, like, once someone trolled on the chat with Charlie Lee and managed to ask a question about Cardano without us realizing, and it's become an inside joke. But some Cardano community member decided to do a video commenting on my live stream where they were like commenting on like how this is really mean to Cardano and how I'm going to be wrong and how I'm going to be poor. I didn't watch it because it was like 10 minutes long and I ain't got that kind of time, and I'm like, I can imagine what it's going to be like. But because of this and a bunch of new Cardano people like DMing me, telling me I can't do my own research, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening in Africa and stuff, I'm actually going to write a proper report on my analysis on Cardano. It's going to be my first. I'm going to reignite my blog, which I started and wrote one post which said blog coming soon and then closed the blog maybe a couple of years ago. I'm going to restart this blog, and it's going to be like an actual report on Cardano. I'm going to write it because like I've done the research, I've looked into the technology, I've gone like super deep. I know what things they're doing that are cool, I know what things they're doing that like I'm skeptical of. I've gone deep on it. I've formed a real opinion. I'm not just being like, haha, he's like weird on Twitter and he's got a YouTube channel. Like native assets and parallel execution, kind of cool. Maybe a marginal improvement over ETH for scaling, and like native assets is like way better than like tokens being locked in fucking smart contracts and shit. But there's like tons of stuff as well. Like they've got very 2017 tech. But I'm going to write an actual blog post on it. I'm going to do some long form writing on my thoughts on Cardano. This is what they've brought me to. They get they get right up in my DMs about Cardano. There's no other community gets like this. Everyone else just like, they're like, meh, who cares? Cardano people, they really need to tell you that their coin's good. It's like, it don't matter if I don't think it's good, but they care a lot. They care a lot.
Cobie, have you used the Cardano blockchain ever?
What for?
Yeah. I don't know. Why? I'm not sure if it's real or not. That's why I keep like, does it exist? I don't know. 100%. Like everyone just keeps on like real. Going nuts for Cardano. Is it? Show me your transaction.
You can't do anything with it at the moment.
It's not.
I think it's real though. Yeah. But they've done some cool stuff. Like the proof of stake consensus mechanism they came up with in 2017 or whatever. I think that's used by Mina now. It's probably used by Polkadot as well, I think. So like they've done some stuff that has contributed to like this like a scientific like blockchain level is pretty interesting and cool. but for the state that it's in and the valuation, it's not interesting to me. But anyway, subscribe to my newsletter for more information. I'm going to make it a paid newsletter because all these Cardano people are going to want to read it no matter what. It's going to be $20 to subscribe to this one post.
What's the URL for your newsletter, Cobie?
I don't know. I haven't made it yet, and I'm probably going to forget about it after the stream and never make it. So
okay, so just follow Up Only TV then, and we'll link it out for the blog post.
Yeah. Cred, how are you feeling about the Bitcoin versus non-Bitcoin chains?
So one angle I've never found particularly persuasive is when something does well in crypto, which isn't Bitcoin native, and the first reaction is to, oh, well, we can just get this on Bitcoin, so just forget about what's going on here. So it's like you talk about some, layer one you like or smart contracts platform, immediately the report is, well, yeah, I can get smart contracts on Bitcoin. And then DeFi becomes popular and works and people lend and borrow, etc. Of course, the argument is, oh, well, we can just build a, Bitcoin native lending, so this is unnecessary. I've just never found that angle to be super persuasive. I think to some extent it even dilutes what I think is persuasive focus on digital gold. So to me, I don't know, it's sort of an act of shooting yourself in the foot. You've got a really strong use case that only gets stronger with time, the whole, digital shiny rock gold replacement, whatever. I would just double and triple down on that rather than have this reactionary. And again, there's no such thing as the Bitcoin community, right? I'm just commenting on trends that I see on my timeline, whatever. But the idea that any innovation in crypto just has to be brought in-house for Bitcoin, otherwise it's not kind of legitimate or not sufficiently decentralized. I don't think that makes a bunch of sense. I'm at least personally happy with like one really strong narrative, digital gold, and then I don't think there's a priori kind of requirement to bring everything into Bitcoin and to have everything under the Bitcoin umbrella. I'm totally cool with other use cases in in other platforms. As for Cardano, I've got no idea, mate, honestly. Just nothing. You're getting nothing out of me, not a clue. Oh no, actually, here we go. I lied. I think just some commentary. Charles's approach on social media is super weird. Like the interaction he had with Mark Cuban was just frankly bizarre, where Cuban was like, hey, he's got like 1 million followers or whatever, and Charles has a bunch as well. And he really had the opportunity to almost pitch him Cardano. I think that's what even Mark Cuban asked for. He was like, give me a short version of what Cardano or why Cardano. And then Charles went down this whole, 10-minute response video, come down to my farm, wherever it is. It's just such a wasted opportunity. And, if you can't succinctly summarize, if you don't have an elevator pitch for your project, it just kind of sucks. I felt that was an unfortunate wasted opportunity,
There's been some good Charles tweets though. Like I at first found him super cringe, but over time I've grown to like him. And now when he tweets like super edgy stuff, I'm like, let's go, Charles. I like it. The other day he tweeted just told some guy to fuck off, and I was like, let's go. I feel that energy. I feel good about that, and I've started to like him more. And then when I met Cardano Dad, I was like, you know what? Maybe we're all gonna make it. Maybe it's all good.
All right, so people are going to take what you're saying here between your ADA blog, your pro-Charles propaganda, and they're going to say, we got Cobie, he's in. You're a new ADA whale. You just don't want to admit it yet.
Yeah, maybe. Ledger, do you have anything on your agenda that we've not covered? Because I want to take some questions from the chat, and I want to ask the final alpha from all our guests.
As not the host of this episode of Up Only, I came in with no agenda whatsoever. So no, I have nothing remaining on my agenda.
All right, perfect. Chat, you've got an opportunity to ask questions to these Gigabrains and Ledger. Whatever you want to ask them, whatever you want to ask them. This is your opportunity. I'm going to be reading out. Why is Path so bearish?
I'm long. I'm hugely long at the moment, so I'm not. I'm just saying maybe we have to be patient.
Sideways is bearish, Pat. Sideways is bearish.
Funding fees, bro. A year until new highs. Yikes.
Path, you literally came up with the phrase "up only."
Yeah.
This is what the people want from you. Just look into the camera and say it.
Just
up only. There you go.
Tradinglord, why is Bond Bambridge?
Why is Bond Bondbridge? That's a very good question. I swear to God, Bondbridge is going to be a blue chip DeFi coin. That's it. That's all I want to say. Very important for risk tranching and shit. No, seriously, good stuff.
All right, Barnbridge.
How much of
5,500
Alameda's
people.
portfolio is allocated to the Solana ecosystem? You maybe can't answer that.
Enough.
Enough. What does Sam think about Solana Summer? Yeah, this is a great question. 2 questions. Is it going to be Solana Summer? And are you buying one of the Solana body float things?
So I do think that as more stuff gets built using Solana, it'll become more and more popular. I guess we're coming up on summer. So yeah, I believe in Solana Summer. And what is the body float thing?
They've released.
Oh, you don't know your own marketing.
Like a fashion show
body
bullshit,
floats
no?
or some shit.
It's a pool. It's a pool.
I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah, those are fun. Yeah.
I'm gonna get one sent to me. I'm gonna do a stream where I fill it up with water.
Yeah.
Me here. My own hot tub stream in a Solana hot tub.
You'll fit right in with the rest of Twitch if you do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it to the top of Twitch. Just watch. Raise your hand, and Cred, you're not gonna be able to do this because you're an avatar. Raise your hand if you own Cope.
I think so.
All right. Because someone asked, does Sam own Cope? And I didn't want to just call you out, but we got you. We got you. Can you ask Sam about the Bitcoin and equity and US equities correlation?
Yeah. So it basically didn't exist pre-March March 12th, 2020. Or I mean, it was like it existed, but like not in an important way. And yeah, a lot of people were like pretty unsure heading into March 12th of whether like crypto was going to be like a safe haven asset, which like I saw a lot of articles about, but I thought was kind of a crazy thought that like the market would crash and like people would want to put all their money into like fake internet coins. Yeah, so when March 12th did happen, the crypto market developed like a really strong beta from the traditional markets, which was kind of the only thing that mattered for like the 6 months following that or something like that. Like there was because of the way crypto works, like with liquidations and stuff, often crypto would move with like a stronger than 1 beta to like the S&P 500, but directionally it was like kind of all that mattered for a really long time. Now that and that was just because like the whole world was watching the traditional markets, and it was kind of just impossible for any market not to be following it. Now that crypto is kind of like really separated itself on like a fundamental level, like there's like people are actually like making bets about crypto again, like there's institutions making bets on crypto instead of the S&P. The correlations has really died down quite a bit, but for really big like S&P moves, I would generally expect the crypto market to follow them, which was not really the case in like 2019.
And I guess a similar related question is, how are you feeling about potential US interest rate rises?
Sure. I think people overstate how much that should impact the crypto markets for the most part. And I kind of expect that as more news happens about it and like more events regarding that play out, the same sort of pattern will happen where like the crypto markets is going to overreact to it and probably immediately revert is what I would guess. But I'm not sure exactly.
Tradinglord, what do you think about Luxo and Fabian Vogelsteller?
Luxo is pretty interesting. They tried to just bridge like lifestyle with NFTs, like in a separate blockchain. So pretty interesting. I mean, Fabian Vogelsteller is the guy who invented the ERC20 token standard. Smart dude. So I guess should be fine. I have a bag. I have a bag of Luxo. Pretty interesting. But I got it like at $2.
Did you just ask that question to yourself from the chat? Was
that
you asked that question?
No.
I think Tradinglord planted people.
Yeah.
I have a couple of friends trying to mess with me.
Crypto Gel NL says, Sam, can you please look into the camera and say pump it loom dart?
No.
I was waiting
there was a moment where I was like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's going to do it.
Could you say up only instead?
Sam, how do you think options have impacted Bitcoin market?
Yeah, so I think that as like options volume has like gotten a lot higher than it used to be, but it used to be 0, and now it's like a little bit above 0, at least when you compare it to futures volume and even spot volume. But futures obviously matter a lot more because the volume's so much higher. And I think that people really overstate gamma effects that exist from the current options, like the current options OIs that exist. They're just not high enough for it to be especially powerful. If we really happen to be very close to like a strike that or one of the only 2 strikes that has a ton of OI, then yeah, it's possible there's some hedging. But also people aren't people in the crypto markets aren't really hedging a ton, I don't think, when they have these large options exposures. I think that will come in 5 years. I think that there will be real effects from this, but I think that it's pretty drastically overstated right now.
Tradinglord, how did you keep your mindset after losing everything twice? Asked from someone who's recently lost everything on this recent drop.
And
what can you do?
Additive to that,
Peter
said, what do you do if you're liquidated today and therefore lost everything? So combo.
I mean, what options do you have? Either you go and stand on a fucking bridge and jump, or you just keep on fucking going. And at the end of the day, life is so fucking beautiful. And I'm straight up with all those kind of things. Like, while I got liquidated with Mothership, I lost my best friend. So life just went from I'm young, rich, good looking, and everything's fine to literally I went to fucking 0. And I came back, and I'm not a super strong or smart guy. If I can do it, everyone can. So all I can just say, good vibes, try to find friends that care about you, try to add value to the world, and that's it. I don't want to turn into some Gary Vee bullshit, but at the end of the day, what options do you have? Either you keep your head down and you stop, or you just try one more time, and there's always going to be another bubble. So just keep on working, hustle, try to reduce the lavish lifestyle, try to meet as many people as possible, try to add value to as many conversations and lives as possible, and you should be fine.
Someone in chat said, Cred, what's your name, surname, mother's maiden name, date of birth, and place of birth?
I don't know how to answer those things.
Someone in chat said, Path, what are the first the first words that come to your head? Quick, give us... They're saying, what's your private key?
Oh, okay. No.
All right, chat's questions have basically gone to 0. So it's time for the wrap up. We've been streaming for 2 hours. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Sam, thanks for doing it. Everyone, thanks for doing it at last minute. But Sam, you've got a job. Everyone else just sits in their house all the time. So thanks for taking time out of your day. Every episode we do, we ask the guests for a final piece of alpha, and this is supposed to be something that makes our viewers happier, healthier, more fulfilled, richer, wiser, just some life lesson that has been passed down maybe through generations of your bloodline, or from a teacher that you really respected, or just like some wisdom that you look inwards when you're in times of trouble in order to make it through. Maybe you got liquidated and lost it all and you need to make it through to the next day. So we're going to ask each of you a ledger. Me and you don't have to do it because we're on these streams all the time and we've got nothing useful to say anyway. Crypto Cred, what is your alpha for the chat? What can people take away and learn from you? How can you make them better versions of themselves?
Sure, I'll try. It only takes like a couple of good trades or like a couple of good days to really make a solid trading quarter. There's this romanticized version that you need to always be in and out and, you know, buying every dip and selling every rip, etc. It's not true. Just like we had recently, you get some really asymmetric days where you can make a month, a quarter, a year of your trading. And two things are important in those types of situations because you can't always foretell when they're going to be. But the way you can take advantage is, at least in my view, the following. The first, and probably the main one, to be honest, is you want to be approaching those days from a position of strength. So if you're, for example, over-leveraged and the market's nuking, and you're only worried about like your collateral requirements, then you're not approaching that from a position of strength, right? You're from a position of weakness and trying not to get liquidated. So as long as you survive, point number one, and point number two, keep your allocation, positioning, portfolio, whatever. In a state where when asymmetric black swan crazy shit happens, you can be there to take advantage of it. That's really all it takes. And those days are far more important than the in and out, boring, buy the range low, sell the range high type of stuff. And I think that's really what people mean when they say, oh, don't use a lot of leverage. It's not really to do with, oh, you know, standard risk management tripe. I think it's to do with when the market nukes and you get these crazy events, it's probably going to go a lot further than you think. And the only way you can take advantage of that is if you're coming at it from a position of strength, which means a lot of collateral, spot, and also just mental capital that you weren't buying the dip 50% ago, but you're ready to go balls deep now. So yeah, put yourself in a good spot to benefit from really crazy shit that happens in crypto would be my little bit.
Crypto Cred, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your contributions. Tradinglord, what is your wise alpha? What is inside your fortune cookie?
First of all, I think that people underestimate how young they are. Like, we have so much time. No, listen to me. Like, I am 23 years old right now. Okay, so I started in 2016, and so much shit happened. I could have been rich 12th time. I've been rich 7 times, got back and gave everything back to the market. But at the end of the day, most participants are so young, they literally just need to stay exposed. That's it. Like, this is .com 2000, this is crypto now. Just stay exposed. Don't get wrecked. Okay, so most people overestimate what they can do in a month and underestimate what they can do in 2 years, or 3 years, or 4 years. Everyone is so just like, okay, move now. Chill. You are at the right spot on the right time. Be patient. I think you got this. That's it. You're still young. You're going to make it.
Very good advice for everyone apart from us that are in our 30s.
Yeah, we're wrecked.
Speaking of children, Cryptopathic, what lessons do you have for our wise chat?
Don't get liquidated is number one. Had some fun with that. And I think maybe denominate an ETH if you want to perform well. Try that.
Hold all your collateral in ETH. There you go. Sam, to close out the show, it's time for your sermon. We want to hear you preach. We want to learn. We're trying to make it, and we've been struggling so far, mate. Give us our teachings. We're here. We are waiting to receive.
All right. Well, I'm not sure I can live up to that. But I would say that, like, when people are trading, often the thing that they're trying to do is like figure out the good thing to do, and like that's sort of where they almost stop. They like are looking for the good trades and put on the good trades and just, like, do that over and over again. I think that one thing that people often miss is that often the most important thing is to really like maximize how much you're betting when you like have the best spot or like in the top 1% of spots that you're ever going to see. And this sort of ties into what Cred was saying, where it's really important to have a ton of capital around when like on days like yesterday, which like can be can account for all of your P&L for the year. And if you don't do things like that, then you can't actually like 100x your bet size when the bet is like 10 times as good. And it turns out that that's just the most important thing. Like, this is true when you're trading. It's also like sort of been a pattern in my life. The best decisions I've made have all sort of involved me recognizing that I had a really good opportunity and just putting everything I had into it. One of those was quitting my high-paying job in traditional finance to go into crypto. Like, that's sort of just risking a lot for what in reality was the best thing I'd ever seen in my life. And yeah, this is just the sort of thing that you have to do over and over again if you want to like keep making a ton of money, be one of the best at trading or at just making decisions in your life. And yeah, just always thinking about like, what's my expected value in this spot? Is this the best thing I could be putting my money into? Okay, I better put all of it into it. And yeah, like recognize that even if you lose in a spot like that, like if you're assuming that you're like young enough, like have enough like earning potential in the future, you'll probably be able to make it up and put yourself into more spots like it in the future. So you should just go for it now.
Thank you, Sam. Ledger, any parting thoughts?
No, I don't think so. I appreciate everybody sharing the alpha. I wish you would have done it 2 days ago.
All right.
Take me back,
everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to all our guests. I'm rugging you from the audio now. It's a solo. I'm on the stream alone. You're all gone. They can't hear you anymore. Chat, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. On Tuesday, we've got CZ and SBF. They're the two guests on the same podcast. I'm excited. I hope you're excited as well. It's going to be a battle of the brains, a battle of the ages. Who knows what's going to happen? Am I going to prod him and make it a little bit awkward? Maybe, because that's who I am. That's just the way it goes. And then after that, we've got John Bollinger, B-Bands, on the podcast. I've hosted it today. Ledger's fired. I'm doing this by myself. The market's going to go up only as soon as the stream ends. Thanks so much for tuning in. Peace.